So hello everyone, welcome to day 3, and today we are going to do that design I've put up, which is a design basically done with sand beads. This is a pack of sand beads. Sand beads usually are very cheap, but these days they are getting expensive little by little. Now this pack is for 700 naira. I bought it for 700 naira. Usually before, because of this color, you probably buy it 500, and then other colors maybe 400, but those very special colors there's always 100 naira on top. Now sand beads are no longer 500 like they've always been for a long time. They are now at least 600. Then special colors like this usually go for about 700 now. So we also need our fishing line. Definitely we need our pliers, the cutter, and the one to clamp. Then we can decide to put this at the end to make it neater, to look more presentable. This is a bead cap. This is another type of bead cap with a different shape, but still a bead cap. And of course we need our stopper, original stoppers, and then we need our hook. Are we ready? Let's go. Hello everyone. Remember I said I'm going to teach you some hacks. It's actually in this design there are lots of hacks. And quickly I'm going to show you a few. Now if you look at that pattern I've put up, you would think you are going to roll a lot of these beads into this wire many times, and God knows how many days it will take you, so thinking about it you may be worried or discouraged. But let me show you a hack. Just a minute. I discovered this tool many years ago. This is the hack for making dark sand beads, a lot of sand beads within a very short time. I mean, you can make something like that design in an hour if you have this, this tool. Now I got this tool for about 5,000 naira. I think maybe 4 years ago or more, some years back. I got this tool for about 5,000 naira. So all we need to do, this is a hack, and you see how easy it is. You pour your beads into this, tool, equipment, whatever it is you want to call it, but you don't fill it up so much. Once you pour your beads into it, okay. We also use a needle. There's a needle. If you want to really follow this hack, there's a needle that you need. It's a bead needle. It's not the regular needle we use. It's not the regular needle that we use. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. Just a minute. I'm going to show you what the needle looks like. Now this is the bead needle. See what is written on it. Nigerian plated best regal nylon needles. Okay, number 12. Now see what it looks like. They are tinier and thinner than a regular needle we use. So we are going to open it up and then get one out. Now this is the hack. It's using this tool and a needle will save you days of putting sand beads into fishing line. Before I discovered this hack, I mean I could go on this design for days, like nearly a week. I'm still putting sand beads into fishing line, but with this, very easy. So now let's show you. I brought out one needle. I'll take what I'm using 0.35. So I'm going to just take the opening part of it. That's the end of it. Now this is the end of it, and I'm going to fix it through the needle. Okay, I'm going to fix it through the needle. Make sure it comes out at the other end, and you drag it out a little. I want it not much, but just enough that it won't loosen during the process. Let me drag it through a little more so that it won't loosen during the process. Now see, You see, I have just a little this way, not much. So now we are ready to start. Now this is the hack for this kind of bead. All you need to do is to decide whether you want to go anti-clockwise or clockwise. Put your needle into the beads and just turn. This thing is turnable. Do you see? That's what has entered. So you just push it down to go straight into your fish line. And let me also emphasize that you don't cut your fish line. It's still attached. My needle is still attached to the fish line on the roll. We didn't cut it at all. So we are just going to keep doing that till we get the quantity we want. So just by turning, see? So we just turn this feeling a bit stiff. I'll just, okay, just by turning. So you just turn. It has a top. Let me make sure you are seeing it. Okay, so with the top, just turn. Put your needle in there and just turn. It will keep entering. So that's just what we do. Sometimes in an hour or max 2 hours you are done. Something that will normally take days to fix. I'm talking of days of concentration. Looking at the mouth of the bead and all of that. You don't need that anymore. With this, you are good to go. What do you think? Let me know. Okay, so in a few minutes of rolling my needle through this instrument the way I showed you earlier, in a few minutes of doing that, let me show you what I've accomplished. I've just done this for a few minutes. See all I have accomplished just in a few minutes. Just, in fact, I want to even measure, because as you do this work, you measure. First and foremost, you have to determine what's the length of the person's neck you want to do. Usually, if you are not going to do any special thing on it, 21, 22, 23 is fine, depending on the size of the person. If it's a fat person, then 23 to be sure. If it's a slim person, 22, 21, thereabouts. If it's someone that is that's in the middle, let's say 22 thereabout, or 20. And it also depends on how long does the customer or client want their bead. So now let's measure. Let's see how many has come in, how much I have inside within a few minutes I started. I'm looking at having about I'm looking at using at least 25, because we are going to roll it at the end. If you look at that pattern very well, it was rolled. We are going to roll it at the end. So I'm looking at having at least 25. So this is 19 plus. Let's make sure there's no extra. All of them must be together. So I'm looking at having 25. So this is just 125. So I can decide to just try and measure, use my eyes, just eyeball it a little and see how many 25s you still have to go. So from here to here is a 25. From here to here is a 25. So this is 25 inches. So this is how long. Let me make sure you are seeing it. This is how long I want it to be, because I'm going to twist it, so it's going to get smaller. So I want at least 25. You could do it bigger. It could even be 27, depending. But me, I want to use 25 because we're going to twist it. You know, normally if I'm going to just have a pack of beads like this, I'll probably use 23 for my size. I'll use 23. But because I'm going to turn it, I'm going to you know, kind of rig it round. You know, wriggle it round. I'll have to make it longer. So this is 25. So I'm going to try and measure another 25. We'll just eyeball it to be sure it's about the same thing. Let me see. So this is about another 25. So I have 50 inches ready. Let me see another 25. Let me see. This is another 25. So that's 75 inches. Let me see. Let me make sure we don't have, yeah. So if we were to do another one again, let me be sure that we have enough just to be sure. So in a few minutes, see, I already have like about 100 inches done. So this is the fourth one, and that 25. So this is 4. So in a few minutes, I already have 4 strings ready, just in a few minutes. So imagine what you can do in 1 hour. So we keep at it. We'll keep at it. We'll keep doing our work till when we have enough. Remember, because I'm using 25, and I plan to use about 20 strings. That means 20 of the 25, so that is full like the picture. So we are going to continue. So let's go on. Notice the angle I'm putting my needle to get as I turn it. Just make sure it's just on the bead. It keeps entering, and just push it down. So that's the process. Keep at it. Okay, so now we've gotten quite a number of rows on our fishing lines. What I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the needle. I'll remove the needle so that I can cut some out, because the rope is getting too long for me. So I'll remove the needle, and then I'll begin to, fill my beads. I want to cut them down. Now, I said in my last, what I said last about this size was this, that you must determine how long you want it. So mine, I've determined I want to use 25, and so it's time to begin to cut. Now, before I start cutting, we do what they call closing of the bead, so that it doesn't fall off. I want to start cutting. I want to start cutting 25 inches of the bead and keep, because my rope is getting too long. So now I'm going to lock this bead so that it doesn't spill off. If I just leave it like this, it will just spill off and come out and waste all the efforts I've put. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to just tie it or close the bead by passing it through the outer. This is how it comes, and I'm passing it from the back, and I'll do that twice. 1, okay, that's it, and I'm going to do it the second time. 2. This is just to make sure it doesn't pour out. Now look at what it looks like. It's not pouring. You see, it's not pouring. So now I'm going to measure 25 just to make sure that I am on the right track. I'm going to take my measurement from this beginning. I want 25 inches. Okay. I don't want what you call it, I don't want any space for just fishing line. This 15. I need to fill up my beads, fill them up nice and tight, to make sure that is what I want, is what I get. So this is like 23. I'm going to hold it down here so I can go all the way to 25. So it's not up to from here. I'm going to fill in get more beads from the other end. Remember, we filled it up, so from the other end beads are coming. That's it. So make sure there's no space, keeping our hand at that 23 mark. We want 25, so it gets to 25. When it gets to 25, we can also do like this again to confirm, just to make sure that we are on the right track. So I'm going to put, there's still extra on the other, the one that on the other end that goes to the fishing line and roll. So that's where I have these extra wires coming from. Now I want to make sure that I'm not making a mistake, so I'll make sure I push it to the 25 mark and see whether it goes all the way to number 1, to be sure that it is actually 25 inches I measured, just to be sure. Forgive my tape, it has seen good days and it's still saying more good days. Okay, is it up to 1? Yes, so it's about 25. So at this point, I'm going to give some space. Let's say about, let's just be accurate so that it doesn't confuse you. Let's give about, say, 6 inches. 6 inches before we cut. So after 6 inches, we'll cut at this point. Where's my cutter? We'll cut at this point, right, and we will lock. Remember how we lock? Take the last bead, pass it from behind twice. This is the first time. 1, 2. So that's how we pass it. So we have 25. I'm going to lay it down. So I'm going to do the very same thing again and know how many strands I have. Okay, people, guess how many we have now. In about 30 minutes I've done this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9. It's still not as thick as I want it. Really depends on you, or really depends on what your client wants, if you're making it for someone else. But it depends on how thick. Some people are okay with this kind of thickness. Other people want it to be very thick. But remember, we are going to 20. This is just 9. So we continue rolling. Now remember what I did. I kept tying up the ends. So if you look at all the ends, all of them have their about 6 inches of string left. You will know why I did it like that at the end. So follow me. We are still on the journey. So we continue all the way to 20. We have 9 now. We'll keep it aside. We take our fishing line. Remember that we have to cut off and remove the needle. So take our fishing line once again and we fix the needle. We fix it through the needle again. If it was 0.30, it enters quite fast. I try to bite the mouth, make it flat so that it can enter quite easily. I don't know if you can see. Finally, it's entering. I had to bite the mouth, make it a bit flat so that it can pass through the hole. Remember, this is a bit smaller than our regular needle. Okay, just enough to make sure it cannot fall off. Then we start the process all over again. Now I want it to be fast. You see my bead has gone down, so I'm going to add more beads so that it will be as fast as possible, not to fill up completely so that it doesn't begin to pour as you turn. So the process continues. The process continues. There we go. I hope you can see clearly. Okay, so we continue. You see, when it's too full, that can happen. So continue, just have a few on it this time. Now there'll be some times when a bead doesn't want to pass through. That means that is not the hole inside is not so much. What you just do, you just remove that bead, that's all, and you continue. Okay. I'm still expecting your questions. Please send in your questions and let's make sure we finish up. Okay guys, see what I have now. I actually tried about 20 strings, but when I arrived at 20 it was too small, so I had to increase it. So let's count. This is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's 15 strands now in my hand. 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now these 20 strings, and when I try to roll it, this is the size I got. And if you look at that picture, it's a bit thicker than this. So what I did an extra 10. So remember, we already have 20 here. Okay, so 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So I did 30 strings so that by the time we weave it together is fuller. By the time we weave it together, can you see it's fuller? So now we are ready to put it all together. So how do we put it all together? You get all the mouths together. Take a particular side you want to work with. Get all the mouths together. If you see what I'm doing, I'm holding it at the string. Remember, we tied the last bead to the end. So see what I'm doing, holding it at the string. So I'm going to do that for all 30 of them. Okay guys, so you see I have about 10 strings here. Remember, I did about 30, but I know the more strings I put, the stopper may not be able to pass through. So I just passed in about 10 of them, and I'll put a stopper through and close it. Okay, so I've passed through 10 of the strings. I've passed them through a stopper, in fact 2 stoppers. Okay, now I've done that. I'm going to keep it aside. I'm going to do that for the other 2 pieces. I'll do that for the other 2 pieces. Okay, so we have the 3 strands of about 10 each in each strand. We have all of them together now. You can see them. So we have them right here ready. So what are we going to do? We are going to close each part. Make sure it's tight, close it. Make sure this one is tight, close it. Make sure this one is tight, close it. And then we are going to trim a little bit of this and pass it through the cap. And pass it through the cap. The cap is just to cap it off so it looks neat at that point. So that's what we're going to do right away. Okay, just follow through. You see us do that right away. Remember, I'm going to make this as tight as possible. Make sure all of them go in through the stopper. So now we're going to close it together. So just watch. Okay, so see how I'm going to close it. Make sure all of them are inside very well, and make sure my stopper goes to the closest it can go, and just close it there. Clamp it shut there. You see what I'm doing? Clamp it shut there. Can you see? Clamp it up. Clamp it shut there. And that's what I did there. So I'm going to do that for all of them, just to make sure that if we do like this, nothing is passing through, it's closed. I'm going to do the same for this one. Take the next one. I'm going to do the same. Make sure all of them are drawn out. So make sure all of them are drawn out. Okay, now I know they are drawn out to the very end, and I'll clamp it shut. See what I'm doing there? Clamping it shut. Okay, that's it. So let's check. Okay, no one is passing. It's shut. Fine. So that's the second one done. Go to the third one so that we can clamp it shut. Before you clamp it shut, of course, you drag it all out. Clamp it shut there as well. Yeah. So we are ready. So now looking at it, this is the first one, second one, third one. So looking at it, we are going to wear it a cap. But if you look at this cap, have them at the same level. If you look at this cap, it will be too small to wear on it, so I'm going to use a bigger cap. This one will be able to cap everything in. So now, since we've clamped short this one, but we are sure that all of this cannot enter into this tiny hole in the middle, which is where it should pass through. So what are we going to do? We are going to trim from the sides, and as many as can enter will enter. First of all, I'll trim everything because the line is pretty long. My cutter is really blunt now. Okay. So we are going to try and pass it through. This is where the technicalities also come in. I'm going to try and pass it through that point. So let's start with one. See if we can pass one through before we pass the second one through. As you can see, it's really difficult to pass through. So a shortcut I can also use is that I can tie this and tied it, right? I've tied it. Can you see on top the stop? I've tied it. Then I'll cut one part out, because what we really need is just to make sure it passes through. I'm going to cut one part of it that I've tied out so that it can pass through. Okay, so we just have a few left, so we're going to pass it through. Okay, so since we've cut some part of it, we are going to try and pass it through. If it's still not enough, I will still cut some part of it. I will tie again just to make sure it's firm. I will tie again and cut. So I'm just going to leave, let's see, I'm going to cut out about 4 again of it, to leave only 2 to pass through. Only 2 I'm going to let to pass through. So I'm going to cut. I've tied again, so I will cut. Once it's firm, I will cut. Now I'm going to do that for all of them, because the mouth of this thing is too small for 30 to pass through. Remember, it's this middle want to pass it through. It's too small for 30 strings to pass through. Now I've cut this one of 10 into just 2 after tying it severally. So I'm going to do that for all of them. Okay, so now we have cut at all the edges. So see what we have left. This is what we have left. Don't worry about how the mouth looks. Don't worry about how the mouth looks, because we are wearing a cap. The cap is going to cover it. It won't be visible. Don't worry about how the mouth looks. So what we have is basically 2 strings representing the 10. So in the 3 different strands, we have 6 strings. Now this can certainly pass through our cap, our bead cap. So let's try it. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Anyone that doesn't pass, just make sure it does. Now 4 has passed through, but 2 are being rebellious. So you go back there and push them through. They will go through. Just be patient. Yes, 1 has gone through. Many the last one. Okay. Okay, let it go through the right place. Only that middle, we don't want it elsewhere. Let's be sure. Do we have all of them in? Okay, one fell off, so let's add it as well. So if we look at what is inside the cap, we have 4, but it's actually 6 that should be in there. So let's pass this one through. Now you see 6 strands can pass through, as against passing the whole 30. 6 strands can pass through. Okay, let's see. I think one passed through the wrong place. Yes, this one passed through the wrong place. We are going to fix it properly. Make sure it passes only through that hole. Okay, and we hold it tight only through that hole. Okay, so now let's count. Let's be sure we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all 6 of them have passed through the hole. Now see what it looks like. See what it looks like. It looks decent and it covers up all of that. Okay, so at this point we are still going to pass it through a stopper to close it, to make sure nothing happens to what we've done. We can even pass it through 2 stoppers. Yes, this is a 2-in-1 stopper. Ejima stopper. So let's pass it through. That's it. Some have entered, some have not entered. Don't worry. Once the ones have entered, secure them, then we pass the ones that have not entered through. Now we see these 3 have not entered. We are going to still pass them through. One of the things you learn with bead making is patience. You have to be patient. A patient person cannot do bead making, no. Okay, so you see we've passed the stopper through. Now we can decide, before we put the hook, we can put maybe 1 or 2 beads just to beautify it, to give it that homely look. So let's put, say, 2 beads. Some people can even put bigger beads, you know, just to beautify it. Or you may even not put anything at all. It's really just a personal thing. Let me put something that has enough space. Let's see. Once the stopper is there, I just put a few beads, or we can just close right away. Either way, we are fine. So let's remember we have a stopper in, so I'm going to pass it through the hook, because every time you work with a hook, make sure you have a stopper next to it. So we are passing them through the hook. That's the hook we want to use. Pass it back into the stopper. I hope you are following. Remember, you already have 6 strands, so we are going to pass another 6 strands. So that means the stopper is going to have 12 strands in it, meaning you have to be patient when you do this. You know, some pass through immediately, 2 have not passed through, so we look for them. I will say, brother, where are you? Enter, Joe. That one has entered. Maybe this one. Make sure it enters. Patience is the word with beads. Okay, so we just have one that is saying, I will not enter. I say, hey, but that means you must enter. Oh yeah. And you force it in to make sure it's in. Remember, it's 12 beads or 12 strands that are entering through this. So you just have to be patient. Don't be in a hurry, if not you may miss the finishing. So when you see your bead that you know, charging you a lot, don't blame them. You are paying for their patience as well, not just for the bead. You're paying for their time and patience. Okay, I think it's coming. Okay, that's it out again. I want to try and push it in. Push it, push it, push it in, push it, push it, push it in. That mouth is not so, it's not entering, so okay, let's bend it so we have space to come out. Okay, so if it's getting too blunt, what I normally do is that place that beginning, there is a little curve, I cut it out. And let's try pushing it in again. See what I've done? I'm pressing this one down, making sure there's space for it to come out at the other side. Push it in. See, success is out. So that's it. Can you see? Woo, woo, sir. Now we have to make sure it's all going. Another thing is that when you fix this in, feel free to press it to fit the bead. And I'm talking about the bead cap. Is a cap. Feel free to press it in, you know, to fit the bead. See what it's looking like. As I said, you can always put beads to, you know, cover it. But since we didn't put the beads, see what it looks like. So normally we just close here and cut. Close here and cut is also fine. It will work. But if you really want to make it really phenomenal, you can also put beads. That means you're losing this up. Put some beads in between before you close. Then when you cut, it won't be so obvious that you cut. But since we have done it like this, it's the same thing. It's really the same thing, because this 6 cannot pass through that stopper again. So this is where we cut. Just make sure it's very firm, and as much as possible, people cannot see the rope. To the best of your ability, firm it up very well. Nice. Once you firm it up very well, your stopper, firming the strands through your stopper, then we clamp as usual. Make sure it's very firm, no story, very firm. Once it's very firm, we clamp. Now clamp slowly and draw it still to make sure there is no story. I've not completely clamped it up. I just closed it a little, then still dragging to make sure it's very firm by the time I clamp completely. So now I clamp completely. Okay, that's it. Can you see? I clamp completely. Now you have clamped completely. You can clamp in a way that it will spread towards the hook. Now see what it looks like. Just to make sure it's closed completely, and once you've clamped, you can cut. Now some part of it is still showing. Can you see? We are going to cut. I'm talking of the leftover. Let me make sure you can see. Yes, so I'm going to cut it off. Make sure no one is showing. They don't need to see it. Nobody needs to see it. So that's it for one end. Now this is where I'm going to show you the hack. When you see beads like this, you can also see them in different styles. For example, some people like their own just like this and it's fine, meaning it will just sit on the head just like this and it's fine. Okay, so I brought my head back to show you the example of how people like their sand beads. Now some people like their beads just like this, meaning it will sit just like this on their neck. Simple. I can be simple and really nice. I make some of this like this for myself. Then there's another pattern that I've made for myself before too. Is the woven pattern, meaning you share it into 3 and weave it like hair. I'm just going to weave it quickly and then I'll show you. Just find somewhere to place this. Let me see. Okay, don't worry, let me just weave it quickly and you have an idea of what I'm saying. Okay, I'm weaving. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Can you see? So we can weave it up, weave it all the way down. I'll show you the finished product. Let me quickly finish up so you can see what it is that I'm doing. You have to be careful to follow the same way you started, if not it will show. Okay, that's it. This is what the matted design looks like. I have matted it from the mouth. We started from here because we've closed it, so we always start from here since we've closed it and to the very end, so it will look like this. Now I can't close it yet because I've not matted to the end, and this is not the pattern I'm doing. So this is another way to do the bead. You can mat it and have a matted design. Okay, and it will be something like this. Can you see what it looks like? So it will be something like this on the neck, which is also a fine design as well. So this is the second way you can do it. I'm going to show you the third one, and that's where we are going to for this class. Okay, so how do we get that design we have in that picture? We are only just going to keep twisting from the beginning to the end. We are not matting like the other design. We are just going to twist. Let me take this off. Okay, so we are just going to twist and twist and twist. Pardon the noise, a carpenter is working in the house. And twist and twist and twist. We just keep twisting to the very end and twist, twist and twist. So what I normally do, I'll just lay it on my lap and twist, and when I've done with twisting, I'll show you. Just keep twisting from the very end to the other end. Remember, we have not closed the other end, and it is purposeful because you can't close it until you have finished your design, unless if you are just doing a plain one. If you are going to mat, you have to mat before you close it. If you are going to twist like this design, you have to twist before you close it. You can't close it until you have finished your twisting. So this is what it looks like. I'm done twisting, and this is what it will look like, which is our pattern. You see, I'm holding that end because once you let it go, it will untwist. So now we have made the twist. We are just going to try and close up this end. We are going to try and close up this end and fix the hook the very same way. We pick 10 of it, put a stopper, close it, clamp it shut, and then cut some part of it. And while we cut, we tie first before we cut, then put some representative. So for every 10, I'm going to have a representative of 2. Please pardon my voice. I'm going to have a representative of 2 to go in through the second bead cap. So after having 10, just the same way I did the other strand, the same way I'm going to do this one. I'll pick 10 strands, pass it through, and then put my stopper before I pass it through, close it, put it through my bead cap, put a stopper again, close it, then I have two representatives like that. The same way what I did for the other one is the very same thing I'll do for this end as well, only that I'm going to be mindful of this twist so that the twist does not loosen. You have to be firm at this point, if not the twist would loosen. Remember, this is what it looks like twisted. If the twist does not suit your taste, right, if it does not suit your taste, maybe as per length, or you felt you did not twist it very well, the only thing you need to do is just to loosen from this place and re-twist, and that's it, and you have a full head. Can you see? You have a full head ready. So let me finish this and I will show you. Okay, so I've switched to a bigger head because that head was too small for this design. So what I did is just twisting. Basically twist, 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 twist. Let's make sure you see it all. Twist, 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 twist. That's basically what we just did. Twist, 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 twist. Any part that is out of shape, you just push it in. That's all. And just a simple design to make, really. That's the hook. Let's see, it should be this way. Yeah, that's it. Okay. This is like one of the simplest hook apart from the one with the chain. But when I'm using for clients, I don't use this hook. I use a very good hook, not this simple one. So it will stand perfectly. So this is it. So once you are done with twisting the bead, once you are done, the only thing we are adding now to fit up that design is the brooch. And like I said, it's important to use brooches that you just fix on, not the brooches that you have to, you always have to put it through the beads. Those ones take time, and what if you don't want to overdress for an occasion? You can just do without it. So this is the brooch on the bead. Let me see. That's it. Okay, let's make sure it's sitting well. Let's make sure it's sitting perfectly well. Remember, it has a hook. Just a minute. So that's it. You have a bead and brooch, but you have to fit it in a way that it will sit well. It wouldn't fall. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. So that's the design that we have there. Now, because this is smaller brooch and a different design, it may look a bit different, but it's really the very same thing. It is really the very same thing. Just once your bead is done, you twist. Once you twist, and remember, when the bead is done, you have to fix through the two hooks. Once you fix them through the two hooks, and you close, the next thing is for you to just put your brooch on it. And that's the beauty of the brooches that you can just fix on and wear, not the ones that have to pass through bead, that has to go through the whole process. So fix your brooch nice and tight. I'm going to fix it through many more beads this time, so it will be tight. Okay, so now fix it through many beads. That's it. So that's it for design 3. We are going to go straight for design 4. Straight to design 4. Remember, it's sad beads. It's just a matter of twisting. So you just keep twisting to your heart's content. So that's it. Thank you.